Runnineers, and we're less than a week away. So of course I'm gonna do my video that's gonna give you some tips, some tricks, some last minute suggestions just to make your experience a lot more memorable, a lot more fun. This is the reason I do these videos, to see if I can help you guys have the most memorable experience. And again, we're just less than 1 week away, and I'm super excited. Before we go over those tips and tricks and everything that we're gonna give you so that you can make your experience even better, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'll be giving you updates throughout on social media. It's Manny Runs Disney on Instagram and on Facebook. So far, that's what I have. Please hit the notification bell, give it a thumbs up, a like, and of course comment on the comments down below. I love answering your guys' questions. Please keep interacting with me, and I hope to see you guys on the course, but let's get to it. So I'm gonna give you suggestions of what you can start doing right now. First off, this is something that I do, especially when I go on these runs and I'm gonna be there for a while. I actually make a list. I make a list of things that I'm gonna need for running purposes. I make a list of what I'm gonna do for regular purposes, just anything out of the box, vitamins, minerals, medicines, whatever it is that you gotta take, belts. So if you're gonna run with a belt, that kind of stuff. So make a list, check it twice, and then check it a third time once you've done packing everything, just to make sure it's there. I check it 3 times, and yes, I have forgotten things in the past. I still remember one of the runs, I forgot my running socks. I had actually put them out, and then I forgot to pack them. But at the expo, I was able to buy some. There's actually a lot of stuff that you can buy at the expo. Actually, you're gonna be able to buy almost everything running related at the expo if you forget anything. But that's one of the things that I suggest you start doing now. Another thing you can start doing right now is checking the weather, so you can adjust that list in case you need to. Now, I've been checking it every day for the last week, and it basically seems about the same. It's gonna be in the mid to high 60s, probably closer to the high 60s. When we start our run, it's gonna get up into the 80s, possibly even 90s. So adjust accordingly. I would always say that if you are cold, one of those cold people that in the high 60s you need to wear something, get something that's disposable. That way you can start running, and then you can get rid of it, because you will warm up, especially during the half marathon once the sun comes out. Another thing you could start doing right now is checking your flights. And by that, I mean start looking at the weather, start looking to see if they're on time, because you need to adjust accordingly if you need to. The earlier that you get there, the better. They always have had emergency pickup, but it's not a guarantee. So in case something happens, you get delayed, you don't get to go to the expo the next morning, yes, they probably will have emergency pickup. But again, it's not a guarantee. So there's people that nonchalantly just say, you know what, I'm gonna take my time, I'm gonna get there in time, but I'm not gonna go to the expo, I'm gonna go later on. I'm gonna go to the parks, I'm gonna do whatever I want to, and then you post it online. My suggestion is don't do this. Go to the expo, pick up your stuff. The more that Disney sees this, the more chance they will say, hey, we posted there that there will not be emergency pickup. So please, people, just be smart and plan accordingly. Right now is when you can start changing the flights, changing your plans, whatever it is, but do that now. Another thing you can start planning right now is transportation to and from the airport. So in case you're flying in now, okay, and if you're driving in, that's another thing. But if you're flying in, it depends on where you're gonna be flying in. Some people are gonna be flying in to Santa Ana, which is John Wayne Airport, Long Beach, which those two are not that far away. So you can take a Lyft, you can take an Uber, you can take a shuttle. There is shuttle services that run throughout the day. You just gotta price them out. I personally take a Lyft. But if you're gonna be at LAX is further away. We're talking almost an hour away, and with traffic, might even be more. So that Lyft, that Uber, that taxi might become pretty expensive. What you can start doing right now is seeing if there's a shuttle, or you can reach out and just see if there's other people that are gonna be flying into LAX, and you guys can share a Lyft or an Uber if you're going to somewhere that's close by, hotels that are not that far away from each other. So that's one of the things you could start doing now. Another thing you could start doing now is checking to see things that you need to get to your hotel room, such as water, food, that kind of stuff. whatever it is that you're going to need. Are they going to be, and the advantage of being in California is that there is stores all over the place. There is CVS's, there's other pharmacies, there's 7-Eleven, just little stores. There's a Target that's not too far away, a Walmart that's not too far away. So you can go and buy your groceries. You can go buy them yourself, or you can take a Lyft over there in case they're a little bit further and then take one back. Or again, you could start looking at Amazon or Uber, that takes stuff to your hotel, so you can get yourself some water, you can get yourself some treats, you can get yourself some fruits for the morning of, whatever it is, but you can start doing that now. Another thing you can start doing now if you haven't already, because you probably already got your hotel, hopefully, and if you do, you can start mapping out what the distances are to go to the expo and come back, obviously. If you're doing the 5K or the yoga, which is going to be in the Esplanade into Disneyland, you're going to get another idea of how far it's going to be from your hotel and back. And then, of course, the 10K and the half, which are going to be in a separate place. But you can start mapping that out now. Another thing that people do not take into consideration, and I would suggest it if you're going to run with a costume. Start planning on that now. If you have any questions on whether or not it's going to be something that you can use, they actually just sent us an email last week with rules of the costumes. I would personally, if I was running with the costume and I had questions, what I would do is I would go to the expo and ask them. I would get a name to make sure, because you can show up the morning of and then they said, oh, well, but make sure that you get a manager, one of the higher ups that says, yes, you can use that, or no, you cannot use that. That way, when you get there, they can't tell you to take it off, or they can actually basically pull you off the course if they want to. So if you're going to be running with a costume, take a look at that email that they sent us. Take a look at the guidelines that are on the digital event guide. And then worst case scenario, I'm not going to be able to answer this question. Take it to the expo, show them a picture, show it to them, so that way they can answer that question for you. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is stuff that you can start doing right now is going to be park tickets. Now, if you bought your park tickets, you can already put it on the Disneyland app. They should already be there. And you got to make a park reservation. Disneyland is a little bit different, so make sure that you make your park reservation to make sure that you don't show up, and then if they run out of reservations, they won't let you in. You probably can do day of if there's any openings, and there sometimes is, but make sure that you get that as soon as possible. Quick note for those of you wondering about PhotoPass. PhotoPass is included in these runs. So yes, you're going to be able to get your photos. That number, that code, whatever you want to call it, should be in your check-in pass, and it should be on your bib. So you will start getting that once you get your check-in pass. We'll talk about that shortly, or once you get your bib on Thursday. Now that PhotoPass is individual to the races only. So you got to make sure that you have that bib on to take the pictures whenever you're doing the run. So that's another reason to have your bib out, but it's going to be exclusively to your bib, not any other bibs. So if you go to the parks that day and you try to take pictures, they're not going to come out. So just be aware of that. And I will say something because I've seen it before. When you take pictures with your bib, do not turn sideways. I have seen people do that. They run up there and they turn sideways and they take a picture, and then they're on social media and they're so mad because they couldn't get their pictures. You got to have that bib in front, and it's got to be visible, so that way it can they can connect it to your number, and that way you can get your pictures. So we talked briefly about the check-in pass, and I'm going to say this about the check-in pass. If you are running multiple races, you will need multiple check-in passes. The only exception is going to be if you signed up for the challenge. So you signed up for the challenge itself, okay? You're only going to need one check-in pass because you're going to go to one place. If you signed up for the challenge and the 5K, you're going to need two. If you signed up for the yoga, then you're going to need a third one. That third one you're only going to use when that morning of at the Esplanade. The other two, you're going to have to take them to the expo, and with your ID, you're going to have your ID. You're going to show it to them. They're going to give you your bib. Now remember this, anybody who is 18 or older has to pick up their own bib, their own ID. You cannot pick up bibs for anybody else. Anybody who's a minor, a parent and a guardian can pick it up for them, But again, just remember these facts so that way when you get there and you can say, well, I'm picking up my sisters, my husbands, my wives, my, whatever it is, my friends, they're not gonna let you. They're gonna have to go there on their own with their ID. And now the virtual queue, so let's take a look at how you can get your virtual queue. So you're gonna start at the Disneyland app, click on the bottom right-hand corner, it's gonna take you to here, click on join virtual queue, and on the day of, it's gonna show up right here, so you'll have it right there. So you can see it's very similar if you've done virtual queues before in the past with any ride that is out there. It's gonna be very, very similar to that. So just make sure that you get your virtual queue. Remember, you can only put 4 people per virtual queue. So if there's more than 4, there's gonna have to be a second person in the party that gets it. If you get different callback times, just go there and tell them that you're all together. Maybe they can do something about it, maybe they can't. So just remember that. And remember this, virtual queue is only for the first day and possibly only for part of the first day, but it's only for merchandise. If you're just gonna go there, you wanna go see the vendors, you wanna go pick up your bib, you're gonna go pick up your shirts, you just wanna walk around, you're not gonna purchase any merchandise, then you don't need it. So we went over the virtual queue, and as of now, they are not out yet, so it might be later today, maybe tomorrow, but for sure by Thursday morning, it'll be there. But remember, you're gonna have to get 2 virtual queues if you wanna get merchandise and you wanna get the shoes, the Brooks shoes. So just remember that after you get your initial one for the merchandise, go back in and get the one for the Brooks. And the last thing I'm gonna say about that is remember, 7 a.m. 7 a.m. local time, and you gotta be within 90 miles. So you can be at your hotel if you're within a mile or 2, that's fine. If you're 20 miles away and you're at a hotel, you can still get it. Just to make sure you log in and you just keep refreshing. Then once it comes to, just press on it, join. And I believe it said there was another one at 2. So in case it says it's sold out, at 2, you can do this. And again, there's a chance that later on in the day, 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night, it might just open up to everybody depending on the lines. And just to finish off on the Brooks, they have not brought out what the shoes look like. Last time it was the day before, so this is Monday, so we still got Tuesday, Wednesday, so by Wednesday, they should be out, if maybe not sooner. Another thing, if you go to the digital event guide, there is a run tracker and there is a link. It has not gone live yet, but this is what it'll look like. So all you really have to do is put in your information, just claim it, and then share it with people, and they'll be able to track you unless you have a tracker on your phone, on your watch, whatever it is. That's the only way that they can track you. So now we're gonna go over what do you do on the days of, so including yoga, 5K, 10K, and half. So just remember this, security is not the same as it is in Disney World. It's a little bit more old-fashioned. You do have to put your stuff in a tray, then you're gonna have to walk through. They're gonna look at everything. If you have bags, they're gonna go through everything. So make sure that you understand that you're gonna get there in, as early as you can. If you want to get there early, because these lines do go long. If you're used to Disney World, you just walk right through. Once in a while, if you have a bag, they're going to call you over to check everything. But just remember that security is a lot stricter at Disneyland. And also remember, if you're going to have a bag, it has to be the clear one where they put your shirts in that you got at the expo. That's the only bag they're going to allow. If you have another bag, they will not allow that. You can put that bag inside that bag, but they will only allow that clear plastic bag. So the day of, I'm gonna start off with the yoga and the 5K because they're basically start from the same place. So you're gonna enter Disneyland, it's gonna be through the Esplanade, so you're gonna go in there. There's a place for the yoga that you're gonna go in, you're gonna check in there. The 5K, you're already gonna have your bib, so they're gonna only let runners go into Disneyland, and of course they're gonna have your corrals. Now spectators can hang out outside, and they can wait in the Esplanade to cheer people on as they come across. And of course they can enter and go into Pixar Pier so they can cheer us on at the finish. Now, one thing that is different, the 5K at Disneyland versus Disney World. At the Disneyland, at Disney World, they're both untimed, But at Disney World, you can basically take your time, and unless you're really taking your time, they're gonna let you stay behind a little bit to take some pictures. Now at Disneyland, that's not the case because they do have to open up the parks, and I'll piggyback on something that I just saw shortly, but they can say that they're gonna sweep you. So, and I've seen it before, or there are other things that they can do is start closing the course. So they can start closing parts of the course. So you're gonna skip a whole section and it's not worth it. So in other words, don't just sit there, lag behind, and take your time. So one thing I did see is that they switched the early entry times because the early entry times are going to change. They're not gonna have any early entry times for the people staying on property. They used to be half an hour before. But they are not gonna change that until January. But when I looked during the 5K day, the early entry is now at Disneyland, so means we probably have a little bit more time. Last year they kept it at Disney California Adventures, so again we had to get off the course. Then for the 10K, it's at Disney California Adventure, so we can run a little bit more in Disneyland before we get out, and basically the same thing for the half marathon. So for the 10K and the half, the start is in the same place. It's down Disney Way. You are gonna be walking down, whichever way you're gonna be going. I go down Harbor, you're gonna see it. You probably are gonna see it even before. So that's where the start is, but you cannot just walk in there. There's gonna be one security point right behind it. So you have to walk down Catella, go around the back, enter that. The other one, if you keep going down Harbor, it's in between two hotels. You're gonna walk right in there. Again, it's a makeshift security system, so you gotta be patient because they do kind of go slow. And once you get to the staging area, there's gonna be the DJ, there's gonna be some photo ops. Remember this, there is not going to be any character pictures. There's not anybody there. There's no, it's something that Disney World has Disneyland beat because they have the characters at the start and the finish. They don't have any at Disneyland. They do have some picture ops. And again, if you have anybody who's gonna be a spectator there to cheer you on, family member, they can walk in there with you. Once you get to the corrals, which is right next to us, right next to that area on the streets, then they cannot go in there. But they can see you off, that's a good part. And of course they can stick around and they can see you finish. So now, as usual, we are gonna come to the place where we are gonna talk about proper etiquette. So one thing I've touched on before, and I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it again, is don't break any rules. You're gonna go over the guidelines, they have rules, don't break any rules. I've seen people that they break the rules, they get banned, they get thrown off the course, they get warned, and then they get mad. But it is your fault whenever you break the rules. So don't try to sneak into a different corral. Don't try to sneak a non-runner in. Don't try to do any of these things. And I've seen people who actually do something that I think is not very smart is they'll post it on social media that they're about to break the rules. You got to remember, Disney does follow all of social media. They have people within this. So now they have your name, they have where you're from, they can look it up, and now guess what? There's a chance you're gonna be banned. So people will sit there and say, Manny, I can break the rules. It doesn't affect anybody else. It doesn't affect you, it doesn't affect other runners. That is not entirely true. If people start breaking the rules on a regular basis, what Disney is going to do is not only are they gonna enforce those rules, they're gonna make those rules a lot stricter. So now we're gonna get to some actual running etiquette, and you should have runners on the left, walkers on the right. And so we are gonna go outside and we're gonna go ahead and see if we can show you what we're talking about.
All right, this is a good place to test to see how we stop, but I don't see anybody around. That would be cool if there was anybody around. Hey, there's Peg Leg Pete. We've been teaching him how to do it. Good morning. All right, let's see if he remembers how to do this. Looking over your shoulders, that's true. And he raised his hand and counted 3, giving us time to move. Great job. Remember, that deer is not Bambi.
Now, other things that we did not show there was, please do not just stop. This is a proper way of, we just showed you the proper way of slowing down, stopping, moving on, whatever it is to the side. And please never ever just stop and turn right back. It has happened to me before. I was able to see that they were coming, so I was able to miss them. But I have seen it where people crash into each other, and I have seen people get seriously injured where they have to miss the rest of the races. They can't run anymore. Remember this, when you have a head-on collision, it's a lot harder than if you run and you hit somebody, you bump into somebody while you're running. Now, when it comes to character pictures, Disneyland does something better than Disney World. So at Disneyland, they only allow you to take 3 pictures and you have to move on. This is something I agree with. So start thinking in your mind, what are the 3 poses you want to do them very quickly, and then get off. Remember, even with the 5K, there's a possibility you're going to get swept. There's a possibility, obviously, in the 10K and the half marathon. So please, proper running etiquette. Take your 3 pictures, move on. If you're going to be taking a picture while you're running, this is what I always do. Look around you. Make sure you get in. Take a couple pictures also. Get out of there. So, especially there's people behind you. They want to take pictures too. Just remember this. It might be their only time ever running. And so you want to make sure that everybody, or I want to make sure that everybody gets their pictures. Everybody should want to make sure that everybody gets their pictures when they're on the course. So take a quick picture. I kind of make a circle and then run out. So proper etiquette, when you get to the water stations, it's basically the same. Make sure that you get your water and then move to the side so that others can get their water. People are going to be running down the middle on the most part. And then what happens is there's going to be people walking on the side, both sides of them, because they usually have water stops on both sides. If it's one side, it's just one side. But then the next, next to the runners is going to be the walkers, and then the people picking up their waters and moving on. And if there's a lot of people and you see that water is lacking, do not just grab 2 cups. It happened to me before where there was only 2 cups left. It was me and somebody else. Person in front of me just grabbed both of them and took off. That has happened. That will happen. And guys, we're all in this together. We're all running. So make sure that you take one, leave the other one for the next person. And now we get to the finish line. So there's going to be finish line photos, and those are fantastic. Those are great. People cannot run in there and take pictures with you. So if you have a spectator, a parent, a loved one, a child, they cannot come onto the course and run with you. They have to have a bib. So just remember that. And it's the same protocol. Make sure that you get your pictures and move out of the way. So because there's going to be people behind you and they want to get their pictures too, and you don't want to cover them up. If you badly need to Wazowski somebody, I am your person. Please feel free to Wazowski me. I love being Wazowski'd. I'm probably one of the only ones, but I actually post pictures. If I get a good Wazowski, I'll post them on social media. So we're almost at the end of this video, but a couple of things I want to point out. These are little notes. Please do not believe everything on social media. I have started reading some stuff that people make up. There is going to be things that people have read before in the past, or they've had a bad experience. So they'll make sure that everybody knows about how bad their experiences was and how bad it is. If you really want the details, reach out to me and I'll try to give you as great details as I can. I'm going to be realistic about stuff, but I'm not going to be mean about it because people can start getting mean. Second to the last, have fun. I was piggybacking on this, that everybody needs to have fun. You're gonna go in there. If it's your first time, you're gonna have a blast, but go in there, just enjoy yourself, have fun, get lost in the experience. That's one of the great things about this. I've ran over 1,000 miles and people always, somebody just recently asked, does that high ever go away? I'm still doing them and I'm making these videos, aren't I? So that high to me has never gone away. I still experience something new every time I go out there. I have a blast. I have a blast interacting with you guys. I want you guys to have a blast also. If you're struggling on the course and you see me running by, please, no matter if I'm recording or not, just let me know, Manny, I need some help. And I will turn off the camera if I can, or turn it, whatever it is, and we will help you out. So lastly, I just wanted to touch on something that's a continuing thing. If you remember a couple months ago, I actually did a video on goals, and then I said, yeah, I'm gonna try to be the role model and tell you guys about some of my goals. And so I'm gonna update you on some of those right now. Well, more specifically, one of them. So I was trying to lose some weight because you run better, you run faster, you just feel better when you lose some weight. So let's go ahead and take a look. On July 7th, I started at 210, went all the way down to 189.4. So as you can see, guys, I lost a little bit over 20 pounds, and I'm hoping, again, I weigh myself every morning, first thing in the morning. So it's give or take a few pounds, but that's gonna be at least 15 to 20 pounds. I feel a lot better. I'm running a lot faster. I haven't trained this well in a long time. I kind of just make the videos. I know I can run, I finish off, but this was a lot of fun. And I always want to say, I always try to tell you guys this, if I can do it, I know all of you guys can do it. So it's not only the weight loss, but the getting faster, whatever your goal is in life. And I'm hoping that my story inspires you guys. Would love to see you guys on the course. Remember, we're still doing that documentary. Come and share stories with me. We can record you if you want to. If you just want to tell me about them, that's fine also. But I just wanted to give you an update on one of my goals. My goal this next weekend is going to be, or this coming weekend, is going to be just basically to finish and have fun. The timing starts at Wine and Dine, and I'll go over that when the time comes. So I've already kept you for a long time, so without further ado, create a magical day, create a magical run, and guys, we're going to see you sooner than later.